effort bless this beat, bitch.
What's going on, bro chachis? Today is Monday, one of my favorite days of the week. Number one, it's the beginning of the work week, and I know since the lockdown, things have changed drastically. But you can start using these Mondays as an opportunity to start everything fresh. The weekend is over, now it's back to focusing on work or yourself. And in this video, we're gonna be covering something that a lot of people have been asking me about, my diet. My name is Alfredo Mancuso. I'm a BMX rider from Los Angeles, and on this channel, I make content about BMX riding, business, and now I want to start sprinkling in a little bit of motivation and a little bit of health awareness. As you are well aware, cycling is a great form of exercise. But as BMX riders, we can be a little lazy and only ride whenever we have to film for a certain project or when we're just in the mood. But with tweaking a little bit of that regimen, you can turn BMX riding, fixed gear riding, mountain biking, or any other form of cycling as a great form of cardio, exploration, and fun. So I've been riding BMX for the last 20 years, and it's been the greatest source of happiness, exercise, and freedom. Because of this little two-wheel device, I've been able to travel the world. And over the last 3 years, I've been making a lot of YouTube content around this profession. Bicycling is not only a great form of exercise, but it might become the main mode of transportation for a lot of people. So currently, we're riding across the riverbeds. So these riverbeds have been made famous by GTA, various Hollywood movies, and a lot of BMX and skate videos. But besides that, it's a great roadway for BMX and other forms of cycling. There's lanes up on top that you can ride for upwards of like 30 miles. There's no vehicle traffic, or at least unless there's some police around, maybe a little bit over there. And especially now with being locked down, there's no one around. As you can see, I've been pedaling for quite some time and I've only come across just a few cyclists. Okay, but stop. Before you go out and spend 500, 600 bucks and get a BMX bike or drop in on a $1,000 road bike, it's very important that we start tackling a diet first. I started the keto diet about 1.5 years ago, and I've been going on and off of it. Now, the first time I started, I did it for about a month. It was working pretty well, but my other lifestyle choices weren't complementing the diet, so it quickly failed. Now, the second time around, I was going through a lot of things in my personal life that really allowed me to just go all in on this diet and really make a difference, not just in my eating habits, but the way I considered what I was putting into my body and when I was doing so. They say that heartbreak could be one of the most transformative things, and they're right. I was going through some issues, and I decided that the best way to get myself out of this funk was to cut out a lot of the negatives in my life. And some of the most important things for me were getting on a better sleeping schedule, cutting out excessive drinking, and most importantly was cutting out carbs and sugar from my diet. See, when you're exercising a lot and you're young, you can eat whatever you want and just ride your bike for a little bit, and your body will handle the rest. But as we get older, our metabolism starts to slow down. So while I was riding as much as I was in the past, I was also eating like I did in the past, and that was not good for my diet. I was also not sleeping properly. I was also partying, doing a lot of things that weren't gonna provide longevity for what I really wanted to do, which was ride my bike as long as possible. And I think I am in better shape now than when I was 23 years old. And I attribute nearly 90% of that to the keto diet. See, before we get into exactly the breakdown of the keto diet, we need to understand what it is about any diet that makes it sustainable, and that's consistency. For a long time, I would diet in one side of my life, but then throw it all the way on the other. I would eat really cleanly Monday through Friday, and then I would binge drink, and I would eat these deep fried, carbolicious meals, and that wasn't good. But now that I've really honed in, I've cut out all that excess and focused all of that into my craft. Now, this diet will work the best if you couple a few things with it. Number one, you're persistent with the keto diet, so you follow all the rules. Number two, you're also exercising, because if you're only dieting, then you'll lose some weight. But when we build muscle, that muscle will also help us lose that weight. And number three is more of a bonus, but if you really want to meet your goals really fast, sprinkle in some intermittent fasting. We can cover that in another video, but essentially, I try not to eat anytime after 7 p.m., but I won't eat breakfast, and I won't really eat until around 11 a.m. or noon. So what that does is that'll give me about a 17-hour fast. So there's only a 7-hour eating window. Now, you don't have to do that every day, but it does help when you're trying to achieve these weight loss goals. So now, the moment you've all been waiting for, what is the keto diet? Well, the keto diet, or the ketogenic diet, is simply a no or low carb diet that is high in fats. It's pretty similar to the Atkins diets or other low carb diets, except that this one is coupled with high fats. So essentially what you do is get rid of a lot of the things that we love. So sugar, bread, pasta, pizza, sodas, anything that have carbs in it, you cut out. And essentially for the first month, all I would do was Google name of food and keto, and it would tell you on Google keto or not. So what can you eat? Well, for someone like myself that's of Argentinian and Italian descent, I can eat all the great Argentine meats, but none of the Italian pastas. No spaghetti, no lasagna, no empanadas, which are breaded little turnovers with meat in it. If I really want to eat an empanada, I have to literally tear it apart and just eat the meat. There are vegetarian options to the keto diet, but it's very difficult because then you're missing out on fibers and you need the fat. So you can eat nuts, but you have to be careful because a lot of nuts do have carb. You can, however, eat peanut butter. So you can see that this diet gets a little confusing, but a simple rule of thumb is if it's delicious, it's probably not keto. I'm kidding, but not so much, because I myself used to drink a 2 liter of Coke a day. I would eat a bunch of pizza, pasta, rice, beans, all the good stuff. Well, all of that I had to get rid of. It sounds terrible, but it's really not that bad considering I lost 30 pounds in the first 28 days or so. Again, I coupled that with cutting out all alcohol for that first month. That was about a year ago. Nowadays, I can drink every once in a while. Sometimes, is it really worth the hangover, the headache, or the caloric intake for some extra giggles? I don't know. You can make exceptions. If there's a holiday or someone's birthday, I will take a shot over FaceTime with them, but that's it. I just take 1 or 2 shots of tequila straight because that'll have the lowest amount of carbs in it. If you're gonna drink a beer, you gotta drink a Michelob Ultra, or if you wanna mix it up, you can have a soda water with vodka or tequila, but keep it at just 1 or 2 for the night. And do that maybe once or twice a month, because the rest of the time you really wanna be focusing on this diet, at least at the beginning. So why is it called the ketogenic diet? Well, what happens is that as your body cuts out all those carbs, your body now starts turning fat into energy. Our body uses fats as storage for energy. But when you cut the fat out, now your body needs something else to burn in order to keep going. So that fat becomes a fuel. So that's why I'm constantly eating steak, fish, chicken, turkey, and veal. And then I'll sprinkle in avocados, cucumbers, pickles, olives. As you get more and more accustomed to avoiding it, your stomach starts to shrink because carbs tend to take up a lot of room. Think about bread and all that stuff in your stomach. It actually does take up a lot of room. But when you're just eating sushi or a nice breast of chicken, that doesn't take up that much room, but it provides a lot of fiber and the proteins that you need. So again, the keto part comes from the ketogenic diet, and that means that your body is in ketosis. Now, I'm not a super strict stickler on this, but you can get these pH strips that you pee on and it'll tell you if you're actually going through ketosis. And that is the moment when your body is burning the most fat, because it's literally at that moment getting all of those fats and turning it into energy. And then when you pee on that strip, your urine will have a different pH level, and then you'll really be able to know if you're in ketosis or not. But that is more for when you're really trying to do something, like if you have a competition, whether it's like bodybuilding or BMX riding, or you're going for a long ride, or you just want to look really good for a certain event. That's when you want to really kick it into overdrive and cut out everything. Because a lot of diets do rely on a cheat day. And for myself, I try to avoid those unless it's a holiday or my mom cooked a special meal. Then I'll save that for a Sunday and I'll eat a little bit of carbs and maybe have like half of a soda or something like that. But to be honest, as time progresses, your body just starts to not want those things anymore. And one thing you will experience within the first 2 to 3 weeks of this diet, this thing called the keto flu, which are headaches, you're easily upsettable, you're in a bad mood. That goes away. You just need to add a little sodium or salt to some of your water, just a little tiny bit, because your body just needs some more electrolytes to get used to that switch from all this sugar and carbs that you were eating. But once you cut that out and your body's used to it, drinking a soda or a beer will seem super weird, because after about a month, you'll notice that if you drink a soda, it'll seem really acidic and just so sweet. So it's almost like you don't even want to do it. And you can substitute diet products, but to be honest, I'm a firm believer in the 100% rule. It's easier to do something 100% of the time than 98% of the time. Because in that 2% time, you're training your brain to think, oh, it's okay, oh, it's okay. So you'll go from drinking a quarter of a soda to half a soda to a full soda, and then you're off the diet. So try and be very strict and diligent with this, because it really, really does help. Again, I lost about 30 pounds in the first month. Then I started gaining muscle and converting that. So I started gaining a little bit more weight, but in a good form, because muscle is more dense than fat, which means it takes up less room, but it's a little more heavy. So you'll start noticing yourself build up a little more. As of lately, because of this quarantine stuff, I don't go to the gym, but I do ride my bike often and I try to do push-ups and sit-ups. But I'm in the process of buying a home gym so that I can get a little more definition in my arms and in my core. So let's recap a little bit. The keto diet. Cut out carbs. No sugar, no bread, or anything in that family group. Number 2, we're gonna eat a lot of meat and a lot of high-fat products. Number 3, we're gonna read the ingredients on everything and make sure there's no carbs or very little carbs. Now, this isn't an all or nothing diet. If you're basing your diet on like a 2,000 calorie per day diet, then you can sneak in 10% carbs. So 2,000, that means you can sneak in 200. But it's better to try to do even less than that. Try and get it to like 50 if you can. Pick your weapons wisely. Maybe one little candy per day will be enough to quench those desires, but that will not put a damper and kick you out of ketosis. Because what happens is you eat all clean. So for example, when I'm not fully fasting and I do want to eat a breakfast, I'll drink a black coffee, no sugar, no creamer. I'll have some avocado, I'll have some bacon, and I'll have some eggs. And you can even add cheese. But again, you want to read all the different types of ingredients that go into your cheese, but you want to be careful with cheeses because some of them do have some carbs. So just make sure which ones you're having. For lunch, I might do some grilled chicken and a salad. And then for dinner, I might do a little piece of steak and maybe some avocados, some olives, maybe a pickle. It varies. As far as snacks, I like to have beef jerky. Again, olives are my favorite. And every once in a while, I'll have 1 or 2 slices of dried up mango with a little chili powder. And that's it. And then you just switch it up back and forth throughout the week. Sometimes you can switch it with sushi. Sometimes you'll have different type of grilled chicken. Sometimes you'll saute it with different ingredients. Just read the ingredients to everything and just make sure there's little or no carbs in them. As far as my beverages of choices, I prefer Perrier or any kind of soda water. Make sure there's no carbs in it, no sugar, no added little drops of this BS, none of that. Or just straight up water. There are some dietary drinks and there are some keto. Now, let me stop you right there. There's a lot of great keto substitutes. The problem is that all that stuff is very expensive. Since it's keto, there's only select places that carry it and you're gonna pay for it. My friend Travis gave me some keto cereal. It's delicious, tastes just like Cinnamon Toast Crunch, but it has some carbs in it, very little, but it's really expensive. A little bag is like 15 or 20 bucks. Not worth it. I'd rather just not eat all that and find some substitutes and eat that instead. Okay, so now we got all the keto stuff locked down. The next is exercise. You want to exercise for at least 40 minutes a day. That's the minimum. So go ride your bike, go run, sit-ups and push-ups, do some heavy lifting, but at least a minimum of 40 minutes a day. And lastly, you want your rest. You need some good sleep. Recommended 7 to 9 hours, depending. LeBron James, when he's on full-on training mode, sleeps somewhere between 10 to 14 hours a day, because that's what helps him really recover. I, myself, I'm a psychopath. I wake up every morning around 5:30 and I go to bed around midnight, so I'm not sleeping as much as I should during the week. On the weekend, I try to get at least 7 hours, and I'm on a different schedule, and I'm also a little crazy. But I will say, one of the best things about this diet is that you have no crashes, because without any sugar in your body, you don't have this synthetic energy. You have natural energy that you're getting from your diet and from avoiding those things, so you never have a crash. I go throughout the day with the same amount of energy all day long. You'll notice that people that are drinking Red Bulls and coffees, they are going on a roller coaster, up and down, up and down. They have energy, then they look like they're dying, then they'll slam their Red Bull, they'll go smoke a cigarette, they'll do all these things to try and amp themselves up. On this diet, you don't need any of that. If you follow all those rules, I guarantee in the first month, you can lose a lot of weight that will be very significant to you because all of your clothes will fit bigger. I used to be a large, I'm now a medium. My pants used to fit really snugly around my 32-inch waist, and now they sag quite a bit. And like I said, I feel better than ever. I'm stronger, I'm lighter, more aware, more focused. There's just so many benefits. One of the best things that there's some emerging studies on is that the keto diet and diets in general really do help with cancer and anti-aging. And the reason for that is that as you're going through these diets, you're fasting, you're losing a lot of weight, and you're building muscle, and you're shedding old cells. So those cancer cells can go away. And since your body's constantly replenishing new cells because you're going through all these changes, then it makes you look and feel younger. So what more do you want? And I'm not even sponsored by a keto company or anything. This is literally 100% transparent information that you're getting from me. I'm not one of those testimonials like, oh, I found this or that. Like, this is real. And if you know any of my friends, I always tell them all about it. And now, after months and months of promising you guys this video, I took the time to really make it. Now, super big caveat. I am not a dietitian. I am not a nutritionist, I'm not a physical therapist, I am not a doctor. None of that. I'm just a dude that rides a bike that's giving you some information on something that really helped me. So do your own research. If you are diabetic, hypoglycemic, hypochondriac, anything of that sort, make sure you consult your own physician, dietitian, or nutritionist before you try any of these diets. Or at least do a lot of due diligence and read everything out there that can help you, but also not hinder you in other places. I know that cutting out sugar could be catastrophic for someone else. So make sure you consult a professional. But if you have some basic questions, feel free to reach out to me in the comment section below or on Instagram at Alfredo Mancuso. Now I'm gonna go over there and get some riding clips to sprinkle in this video so it's not so bland. Hope you guys found this informational, educational, and a little fun. It's been real. I'm out.